back in the day. Pew Pew Laser Beams with the 5 gifted subs. Thank you so much, Pew Pew Laser Beams. I really appreciate that. Okay, guys, I want to make one thing clear right now.
What?
We are selling out for $50. Okay? Like, I don't want to step around it. I don't want to do anything else besides that. I just want to say right now, we are selling out right now for $50.
So what?
Today, on a very special Master and Apprentice, we're partnering with Blizzard
to create Thunder Fury, Blessed Blade of the Windseeker.
Look at that beard.
Wow.
Sponsored by Blizzard.
This is Marcus Laporte. For the last 17 years, Marcus has been working in the film industry as a production designer, art director, and prop fabricator.
And this is Adam Ellis, a novice cosplayer and the systems administrator for Rooster Teeth, the production company we work for.
We're going to show you
and
what
it
takes
has a really
to make
big beard,
professional level props
so it makes it seem more serious.
And teach you the tricks that pros use that you can do at home.
This is Master and Apprentice.
Okay.
Adam, today you picked the build, and you're clearly very excited about it. Tell me a little more about what you chose.
All right, so Blizzard gave us an opportunity to make whatever weapon we wanted from all of World of Warcraft.
I'm actually glad they picked Thunder Fury.
I yelled at you and I said, Thunder Fury! And the reason is because it's something I've been chasing since I was like 15.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly rare sword. To get it in the original game, you needed 39 other friends, you needed a lot of luck, and I'm hoping that today we can make it in real life so I don't have to wait any longer.
So Thunder Fury is a legendary sword. It hits your target with lightning, and then it bounces lightning to any nearby foes. This sword was a beast when it was first released.
Why did they have to show him in this shitty gear?
It was the only weapon to have this kind of effect when it came out.
Probably just to make the sword look better.
This build, I'm excited for it, but there's a lot of scary parts.
Okay.
You have like sharp, clean facets. You have compound curves. You have a ball of lightning in the middle of it.
I wonder how they're going to get that in there.
I want to get it right, and you know, I'm a little nervous about the build as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong here. This build's pretty intense. It's about an 8 or a 9 out of 10 on the build scale. Usually we're starting with 2D images or 3D images that we can find online.
Well, how are they going to get the electric in this?
With Blizzard.
We are going to Blizzard's campus in Irvine, California.
Wait,
we're going to meet with some of the original quest designers of Thunder Fury, people that worked on Thunder Fury when it was like they made it. We're going to get some in-depth details about it, some lore, and we're going to have a good time at Blizzard campus. So we should leave right now.
All right.
Oh, this is Illidan. He had a big part in the
That's
last
the guy who
expansion.
made Thunder Fury right there.
Holy cow. This is Queen of Blades.
I really
want
want
to
I really want to touch it, but I won't.
Oh, it's
She's the Horde War Chief.
That's wild.
You're not supposed to touch
This is like some kind of silicone, I bet.
That's not true. She's only a B cup.
We are here with Alex Afrasiabi, who is the creative director on World of Warcraft. And Alex actually made the quest for Thunder Fury.
Yeah.
All right, so tell me a little bit about the materials.
Wait,
this is some sort of a
okay.
metal sword, yes?
Absolutely a metal sword.
Okay.
Elementium, in
there
fact.
You go.
So this is an elementium.
What do you think for $51?
It's a metal of the elements, right?
That's great, because that's kind of where we were thinking we would be focusing the finish for the blade itself. We're going to do a metallic finish on it, so that's great. Seeing as elementium is somewhat fictitious, I bet we could draw a conclusion saying that enough electrolysis along the edge of the handle, might have added some sort of, you know, like a chemical reaction, like kind of like a
Is aluminium real or not?
Okay, awesome. I just made up a cannon in World of Warcraft.
Looks like it's not real.
Why is there lightning in the center of the sword?
Well, so in order to finally kind of get the weapon, you have to defeat Thunderon, the Prince of Air. Once you do, it's his essence that powers up the blade. It's that thunder essence.
I think right now we're researching plasma balls.
So we have to kill someone to make the sword.
We're gonna do our best to try to recreate that little sort of thunderous lightning ball that's in the middle.
Well, you know, if you can't get an elemental lord, this will do.
Right. The funny thing is, this will still not take as long as it takes to get Thunder Fury.
I think you're right.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Holy cow.
This is real metal. I can see it's like solid steel.
These are all real metal.
Yeah, they're all
Gorehal's too small.
You don't normally see as high of a polish on metal swords, especially in Warcraft. So this is like a finish that I'm not used to seeing.
Realistic finish.
Yeah, it's more shiny and realistic, and that's kind of what we're after for Thunder Fury. It's going to be tough to get the ball sword to be that shiny. So I think what we're going to have to do is clear coat it first. A lot, yeah. And get it glassy, smooth, super shiny. And then once we've done that, we can put the chrome on, and we should get pretty close. All right.
Wow, dude. Look at this thing.
pretty big. We got some good stuff.
That's how big it's supposed to be right there.
Marcus, that was an amazing trip.
Agreed. I feel like we learned so much on that trip that we can confidently move into this build. Still going to be a challenge, but I've got this thing broken down into as few steps as possible.
Great.
So the good news is we've already got our R&D done. So as you can see, Blizzard has been cool enough to send us home with the 3D models and the renders that we printed out. Our next step is to cut our blade out of balsa wood and reinforce it with resin. And for that, we're going to need a few different saws, some acetone, and some 2-part resin. We're then going to take a break while it dries to make the spikes.
What are you making, a paper fucking plane?
For that, we're going to need some modeling clay and some silicone for mold making. Then we're going to come back and paint the blade with some automotive primer and clear coat. Make sure to have your respirator. This stuff's pretty volatile. From there, we're going to move on and make our hilt out of PVC, 2-part epoxy, and more balsa wood. We're also going to need some googly eyes and some paint too, obviously. From there, we're going to rewire our plasma ball with some wire nuts and some insulated wire. And finally, we will put it all together and use our airbrush and metallic wax paint to finish it off.
What the fuck do you mean?
So we have our block of balsa wood. We have our template laid out. We have this broken down into the main high points and ridges of this form. Since we have a block material, we're going to trace this along the top. We're also going to trace it along the bottom after we make some initial cuts. And then that's going to give us a really good idea of where to start. We're going to use a wax pencil here. The reason we're using the wax pencil is because it's not going to damage the balsa wood. All right, so the last thing we need to do is mark the center line.
We're going to cut this thing
in half. And the reason is because we want to be able to have access to this inner edge.
Gotcha, and we'll just join them back together later on?
We are.
Understood.
This is a really important line. We want to make sure that this one's perfect.
Okay.
There's a lot of work they're putting in to just make a Thunder Fury. I wonder if they'll be able to actually, like, cut shit up with this. Because if not, like, what's the point? Okay.
So what we're doing here is we're marking the side profile.
These guys are really good at this.
Once we've marked this wedged line, we're going to take this thing back over the bandsaw. We're going to make 2 more cuts on each of these sides, so 4 more cuts. And that's going to give us the taper in the blade. You don't ever want to be like this, you know? Very nice.
Messed up a little bit.
That's okay, we'll fix that.
Can't win them all.
We'll fix it.
Ready to put some facets in this?
Yeah, we're pretty close. And this is the hardest part of the whole build. So adding any sort of faceting or chamfering to an object can be a challenge. What we're trying to do here is mark all the center lines around the object on both sides, and then also mark the facet line.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
We want to follow both the center line and the facet line. Feeling good? Should we do this? You ready to do this?
Feeling nervous, but
well, you got
I should make a couple
definitely, I definitely want to like work with you on this.
You can watch me and understand.
I don't think mine would come out as good.
We're following 2 cut lines here, which is pretty difficult. And many times when you cut the facet off, you will have removed the facet lines from other planes. You will need to redraw them in order to know where your new facet line is going to be. So take your time and work with a partner.
I wonder how much it is.
To help maintain
probably
all
like $1,000 or something. Honestly, like, if it was made out of metal, I'd probably buy it. If it was $1,000.
We're coming in here with a block that's flat
just like
and
go out
level
and just like fuck shit up with Thunder Fury.
Is there any time, either around the corners or whatever, we'd want to come in with our hands and just a regular piece of sandpaper to sand?
The reason we're not going to use our hands is because they actually create scallops here, and our hand really isn't as flat as we think it is. So in order to make sure all these angles are correct, we want to use a flat object as much as possible.
Okay.
At the very, very end, if you decide you want to roll some of those edges and give that slightly organic quality, you can do that.
Why didn't they make it out of metal though, man?
Awesome, man. I'm super duper excited about it.
That's too bad.
Dust in your beard.
Much appreciated.
All right, we've got this to a point that we can probably put the resin on.
Okay.
Many 2-part resins require equal parts. However, in this instance, our catalyst is this tiny dropper that we're going to be using to mix into a much larger amount of resin. We're going to also be using some acetone to thin this resin down so that it'll seep into all the cracks and crevices. You're gonna see it's gonna kind of soak in. You can move on. The mix here on this one is about 25% thinner versus 75% of the resin product.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Basically, the reason we're using this resin is because this is gonna soak in and it's gonna add so much structure to the balsa wood and do all the hard work for us as far as the structure. You always want.
Look, listen. Everybody's making fun of me like, yeah, if it was made out of solid metal, it would be like 250 pounds. There's no way that I could swing that shit around, and there's no way that you could either. Like, don't pretend like you could pick up a 250-pound sword and swing that shit around. It's not going to happen. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. There we go.
Okay, fine.
It's fine.
Even though we only showed you this process once, normally we would have all our molds here together, doing all these processes all at once so that we could guarantee that the color was correct and the foam was the same.
So what do we have left? All right.
We have primed this with a black primer that we know is already giving us that deep, dark color that we want for the chrome.
Okay.
And we're gonna make it super shiny with a clear glamour gloss. This is not just like any other spray paint. This is a catalyzed paint. So there's a tiny capsule in the bottom of this can. We're gonna use this
spray painting
plastic
Thunder Fury,
stopper
man.
that's in the cap. We're gonna put it in the bottom and we're gonna press it. It's gonna pop the capsule and it's gonna release the catalyst that is gonna harden this clear coat.
What the fuck?
The key here is to coat everything as quickly as possible, as evenly as possible. And that glossy, clear coat that you see on a car that's so tough and durable, it's exactly this item.
All right, man. Well, that looks
Watch how
seriously
Man at
incredible.
Arms
It's a
made
hard,
Frostmourne
like,
instead of
plastic
this.
shell on the outside.
Yep, looking pretty great. This is a really nice surface.
Was it like
for us to
actually
be able to put
Frostmourne
the
though?
chrome on tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Like,
all right.
Okay. Is our clear coat
really?
dry?
It looks like it. Don't touch it. So our next 3 steps are going to be to take this existing
we're
black
invested
surface.
in this
we're
one.
gonna
I
turn
want
it
to see. I
chrome.
want to see what it looks like.
The whole
at the
thing
end.
looks like metal.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
That's about there.
Oh, my God.
They
It
cut
looks
shit
so
with it?
great, dude.
It's pretty
Really?
nice. This is how important the shiny finish is before the chrome goes on. We're
This
masking out
actually
the
is
pieces that we
accurate
want to
for
stay
what Thunder
chrome
Fury
and
is
pulling
now.
out the blue paint. Something we want to try to
just hits
recreate
like a
here
piece
is
of
the light
balsa
that
wood.
the lightning casts on
It's a
and
little
around the
60
sword. You'll often hear
Who
artists
cares?
refer to this refracted light as caustics.
After we remove the masking tape, we'll come back with a little bit of airbrushing around the nick marks to get a chart effect. We're actually using an off-the-shelf plasma ball to replicate the essence of Thunderon effect, which is awesome looking, plus the base of our plasma ball is almost an exact match for the base of our hilt.
We have used some industrial grade glue called Plexus, and we have put this reducer in here, and this allows us to attach to the handle that we're using, right?
This would be the bottom of the sword.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know,
So at this
man.
point, all we need to do now is extend the wire. Also, anytime you're using electricity, you want to make sure to respect it. Do the research on what's inside so that you're safely working with it.
Why couldn't they make this out of fucking like solid steel, dude?
Ready?
You cut down a tree in
look
like
at that.
one swing.
There you go.
All right, let's
So
see
we
what
took
it's
the
gonna
hilt
look
piece,
like.
we primed it, we battle damaged
fuck
it,
is this?
and then we pulled the spikes fresh from the mold, and I think they turned out great.
Oh, for the
let's
hilt.
figure out how long we need to cut this thing, cut it down to size, and start maybe putting some of these pieces together.
Yeah, that should go there. We can put one of those on.
This piece a little tight.
Some googlies. It needs to be tight.
Wait,
Okay,
what?
we made it. Looks pretty
They're
darn
putting
close.
googly
gonna
eyes
flex
on,
this in some of these PVC
on Thunder
pieces.
Fury?
We will put our little
What?
googly eyes here along the edge. Put 4 of those on.
I need to use this arm to paint. I don't want to spray paint my arm. I don't need that much masking
What the
tape.
hell?
Be good.
Since when is this? Since when did you put googly eyes on Frostmourne or Thunder Fury? Why do I keep saying Frostmourne?
To paint the
you
hilt,
know what
we're
I mean
using
to say.
metallic acrylic paint. The metal fleck is going to help sell the illusion that our plastic and wood is actually metal.
What's cool about this technique is you can really mess your brush up so that when you go and do this technique, it doesn't leave a perfect edge. We're stippling on 2 to 3 different colors of metallic paint here, which should add a lot of texture and depth to our handle. So I'm using the metallic wax product to go over all the little high spots and ridges. And by doing this, I'm creating some fake highlights and some 3-dimensionality where there really isn't any. By the time we're done, it should feel really 3-dimensional, even though we've got a fairly flat surface.
That's really nice.
Everything is looking really, really great right now. I'm pretty excited about this finish. It's time to wrap some leather.
I thought you just said ass.
We're using 2 different colors of mylar-coated leather, cut into 3/4-inch strips, and then super glued and spiraled onto the PVC
they painted
pipe
over
handle.
the googly eyes. Oh, wow.
So finally, we are going to put on the finishing touches. On the spikes,
I guarantee
we're going to
you
be
if I
laying on
had
some
this,
brown
I'd
spray
break it in
paint,
like 5
and then
minutes.
wiping it off with some acetone to give it an aged look.
100%, dude. Wait, I would swing that shit around and hit something. Knock one of them googly eyes off so fast. Okay, here's the essence of the Thunder Ward right there.
Marcus, this thing looks absolutely amazing. I was concerned about a lot of things on this build. The sharp facets, making balsa wood look like metal. We have lightning.
We did pretty good, and the handle looks nice. I think we did a really nice job of sort of blending the two worlds, but it fits the game.
That looks really good.
It fits their brand perfectly.
Like, this is the most beautiful prop we've made.
Thanks to Blizzard for having us out.
Go check out the new World of Warcraft expansion, Battle for Azeroth. And if you took on the quest to make your own Thunder Fury, let us know in the comments.
Okay.
Thanks for watching Master and Apprentice.
Well, we've had a long day, man. Let's get out of here.
Come on, just swing it around or something, man. Why are there anime girls at the end of the... Why do you have a blacksmithing video or a woodsmithing video and then have anime girls at the end? What is that? I don't get it. Okay, all right. I gotta look. Man, is this what it's called? Man at Arms Frostmourne. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Does he actually make this? Look, I understand, guys, that, like, obviously, they didn't make it out of metal. Like, for what they did, it was the best Thunder Fury I could have ever imagined. Like, whenever I originally saw the clip, I was like, how the fuck do you make Thunder Fury? But apparently they did. And that's really fucking cool. Retros, thanks to the 5 gifted subs, man. I appreciate that very much, man. Thank you very much for the $5. I appreciate that, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Watch how Man Arms made Frostmourne instead of this. I will. Watch the Forging Ashbringer video. It's actually made out of metal. It can be found on the World of Warcraft YouTube channel. Just got done watching your Iron Man playlist. It's been a long time, man. I know there have been some changes to the game, but have you thought about giving it another try? Yes, I've actually thought about doing Iron Man live on my stream. I have actually thought about that very strongly. And it's still a decision that I'm working on making. Okay. Oh. Okay.
I've been a blacksmith armorer for over 30 years. I've created weapons for over 200 feature films. This is Man-at-Arms.
Oh, shit.
This is a sword that everyone's asked for every...
This guy looks like... He looks like the Kultiran version of Chris Metzen.
Season.
Holy shit.
Frostmourne from World of Warcraft.
Damn, alright. Yeah, this is an actual fucking blacksmith. Alright, here we go.
On paper. We took that template and traced it out on a piece of 1/4 inch thick 1075 spring steel.
Okay.
We cut that out on the bandsaw.
Yeah, this is a real deal.
The tang was left wider, so I forged that to a longer length on the power hammer. And we threaded that to a 3/8/16 thread.
Oh shit.
The blade was then ground with progressive grits on the belt grinder.
Actually Frostmourne.
36 grit ceramic belt, and then we progressed down to a 120 grit belt. At that point, we put the blade into the electric heat treating oven and brought it up to about 1550 degrees and quenched it into heat treating oil to harden it. The oil I'm using is a Park 50 heat treating oil. It's a professional heat treating oil. It's very expensive. You can't buy it, you know, from the general public. You can notice here I'm putting a piece of metal in the oil here at 1500 degrees. It's not catching on fire.
See, this is what we did. See, they should have done this with Thunder Fury.
I now need to temper it in the electric oven.
Look at this.
Put it in there at 600 degrees for about 6 hours.
Okay.
We would take the blade out and polish it down with progressive steps down to 600 grit abrasives and polish it on the buffing wheel.
That's an
industrial buffing machine here. I have 12-inch muslin wheels that are coated with what we call Gorilla Snot, but it's a satin glow greaseless compound. It's basically 320 grit abrasives, aluminum oxide abrasives, bound with hide glue. So they process dead horses, turn it into the glue, mix the abrasive with it, and we put it on these wheels. This is the similar technique to what would have been used in ancient times, probably using hide glue as a binder and just sand as a cutting element after grinding the weapons with a sandstone wheel.
This is
My
good.
way goes a little bit faster. Right now it's ready for Johnny to put the stencils over the top and electrochemically etch the designs here and here.
Oh, for the runes. Yeah.
We drew the glyphs or runes that were coming on the blade and on the Ricasso.
And this guy's really good at his job. You know how you can tell that? He has all of his fingers.
With a light-sensitive polymer
Think about that.
silkscreen for
and
the
both
electrochemical
eyes.
etching. I formed up the spurs or the little claws coming off the side of the blade and the triangular plate that covers the unsharpened portion of the blade underneath the hilt, which is called the Ricasso. I formed those out of 16-gauge nickel silver, hand hammering those over stakes with hand hammers to get the bevel on there, and then silver soldering the components together, polishing them, and then etching those pieces.
This isn't some wood-ass bullshit, man.
The hardest part about Frostmourne is the hilt and the cast components on this. We had to sculpt 26 components in wax, then we would sprue it or attach like a wax rod to those wax patterns and put a can over the outside or the flask and pour liquid investment over the top of the wax model. And then in turn allow that to dry, put that into the burnout oven and heat it up to the point that
so
the
that
wax
way they actually have
melted
like
out of
hard.
there
Okay,
and
wow.
cured the investment. They used to do this in ancient times using beeswax to make the mold and clay to make the investment. And then they would melt the beeswax out of their mold and pour molten bronze or gold or silver into it.
Legitimate fucking blacksmith.
Melt the bronze in a crucible inside of the melting furnace and pour the molten bronze into the flask while a vacuum was pulling from underneath to give a nice dense casting. At the point we got everything cast and pulled out of the investment, there was a lot of cleanup. I had Alicia work on chasing or carving in the details and polishing up everything. And,
so like everything's actually
solid
fucking metal
together. So she was pretty much at the bench for like 2-3 days, continuously working on this to get it set up. So that's why I've waited this long to make this piece.
Wow.
The sections for the grip were cut out of Delrin, and the hole through the middle was drilled with the lathe, and then we opened them up to match the tang configuration, and then I had Johnny cover them with leather.
That's a lot of
tattoos. The hilt and pommel and the sections of the grip nickel plated at a commercial plating facility. We don't do that in-house just because it's too dangerous. My blade worked out a little bit lighter than the licensed copy that Blizzard offers, but it was still a boat anchor. It was a really, really heavy piece. It's a real functional blade, but it's not something that you could easily wield in battle.
Okay, you guys asked for it all year long. What a huge endeavor to make this thing.
Holy shit, dude.
For the Horde!
Ah! Not quite. Wow. That's fucking badass. It's out of solid fucking metal, too. Damn. Yo, I should get one of these. Ah! This is the only reason I wanted to set up a PO box. Yeah,
why do they do this shit?
What do you mean?
Why are they smashing things with a sword?
What do you mean, dude?
This is so fucking stupid. This is not a real test of the sword, man.
What do you want them to do? Stab somebody?
Join our
How about
guild.
cut some
Just
armor or
click that
fucking do some
button.
other shit?
It looks
check
a
out the
lot
rest of
cooler
our
if you cut
armory, click
like
here.
a banana in
And
half.
if you're in the mood for more
You
oversized
spent
weapons, click here
thousands
to see
of
us
hours
recreate Sephiroth's
making this
Massa
sword.
Muni.
A lot of fucking craftsmanship went into this. Serious, real fucking time, dude. And they use it to fucking smash stone and chop some melons. Go hit a fucking target dummy with armor on, or stab it or something. Like, fuck, man.
I don't know, man. Like, they made Ashbringer too, apparently. That's fucking amazing. Like, dude, that video was actually fucking awesome. Like, I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna watch a lot more of these at some point, dude. Like, they made some badass weapons too. Like, it's not even like some kind of bullshit. Like, think about how hard it would be to make Frostmourne out of solid fucking metal.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm not complaining. I'm just saying I want to see it tested out on real shit.
I don't know. I mean, like...
Not on real people.
No,
I mean, like,
nobody's saying that. Who's saying that? No one.
I feel like a dead pig or something.
Wow. This is new.
My name is Tony Swanton. I'm a blacksmith.
Goddamn.
I make suits of armor and swords. My business is making weapons for movies, video games, television shows, commercials.
I turned it down. We should be good now.
For this build, Blizzard Entertainment has asked me to make the Ashbringer sword. It's quite a celebrated weapon in the World of Warcraft. And
they're going to make the other version?
What?
Ashbringer was
bullshit.
No, dude, make the normal.
What the fuck?
A name for its ability to slaughter the undead.
Ruined, dude.
No, it's okay.
The blade changed hands several times following Alexandros' murder. Was later used to shatter the Lich King's rune blade, Frostmourne, making it one of the most renowned weapons in Azeroth's history. This is a famous weapon in the lore of Warcraft. Very excited to be creating it. I'm not going to build this as strong because it weigh over 100 pounds, and no human would be able to carry that. Perhaps me, but, you know, no mere mortal. First thing I'll do is kind of determine what I need to build this. I need to do a couple revisions to how it's drawn. I'm going to extend the grip to help the balance, and instead of making the blade a solid, thick blade as depicted in the game, I'm going to make it a 1/4 inch thick.
Yeah, I would fucking
bet. The artwork showed a white glowing effect. Very cool looking, but doesn't exist in real life. I make a secondary copy,
does. You have the sun.
I contact cement it onto the actual steel I use and cut it out with a bandsaw. I'm not wearing gloves. Gloves would suck into the saw. The glove will actually be pulled into the blade.
See, I told you this guy's good as fuck at his job.
If you're not wearing gloves. My hands are pretty callous, so I have built-in protection.
Was he wearing pajamas?
I use a bandsaw to cut the steel like a hot knife going through butter. With this width of blade, I'm not going to be able to do this tight a radius easily. So I'm going to hand this off to Brian, and he will use a plasma cutter.
Let's play with the power of the sun. 35 million degrees.
Wait, it's really? 45,000 degrees, Brian.
That's really hot, either way.
A plasma cutter uses an electrical arc and a compressed airstream going through it to vaporize.
They should have had this guy make Thunder Fury, man.
In this case, carbon steel.
That would have been cool as fuck.
At that point, I take it over to the belt grinder and grind it to the shape I want just by eye. I use a two-wheel belt grinder using a 36 grit belt. It would take your finger off. After grinding the hollow grinds on the Birking, I hand it off to Brian, and he uses an angle grinder. We're removing enough metal to remove probably 10 pounds, so we're hopefully going to get that down to about 2 or 3 pounds for the blade. After I've refined the blade to the thickness and the lightness that I want, we send it out to a commercial heat treater. This blade is too wide to fit into my electric heat treating ovens, but I will show the process using a miniature version of it.
What the fuck?
By heat treating and tempering
the blade.
Well, that's
actual, yeah, there it is.
A proper cutting edge.
They just need to keep it on fire all the time. Then it'll be just like the Ashbringer.
Almost any battle. After I get the blade back from heat treatment, I need to carve the runes into the side of the blade. I want to make certain that these runes are replicated exactly as they are in the game. That will be the end of the blade construction.
Imagine caring about making
the spine of the Ashbringer entail about 30 separate patterns. We'll take those patterns, lay them out, and trace them onto sheets of bronze and cut them out with the bandsaw and the Beverly shear.
I like how they're making all this actually out of metal.
Beverly shear is a great tool in that I can cut a curved shape in sheet metal, and I can cut thick metal using the leverage of the handle.
What the fuck, dude?
We bend it on stakes and anvils using hammers. After I've folded the bronze to shape, I bring it over to the welding bench and
25, man. Thank you.
heliarc weld it together. This is the first of 30 pieces, and I have about 12 more hours of welding to do. I could see these white glowing kind of gemstones surrounding elements of Ashbringer, and I thought the mother of pearl would be a phenomenal looking piece. I'm gonna cut cabochon stones out of the mother of pearl right here with the 6-inch diamond saw. However, mother of pearl is very toxic. The dust
Really?
Coming off of this is actually poisonous and lodges in your lungs. I'm going to be using a full respirator and also using water so that it doesn't get dust in the air, so I live a little bit longer.
Wow.
Then I'll make sockets that the mother of pearl go in little bezels, little strips of brass. So this is number 1 of 10.
Yeah, he says he use gloves.
Into the
fuck him,
spine,
dude.
pommel, and the dangle on Ashbringer. That will complete the construction of the bronze spine of Ashbringer.
Wow.
I'll be forging elements of the hilt out of bronze ingot by heating it to about 1,000 degrees in the forge. I'm using a power hammer, and I'm taking a red hot piece of bronze ingot that's about 24 pounds. I get any hand, finger, or anything in there, it would smash it flat. Bones, it just doesn't care. I have a chunk of forged bronze that I made earlier that I'm going to mill a slot. A milling machine is able to cut a oblong hole. That way the tang, the inside of the handle, will fit through those spacers. This will be the last piece of the construction for Ashbringer's hilt.
This is actually really well done.
I'm going to take an ingot of bronze, manipulate those shapes on the anvil with a hand hammer. Once the bronze is cooled down enough to handle, I grind it to shape. Okay, I've forged the bronze portion of the pommel. There's a little blade on the top that I'm making out of chromoly steel. I'm going to put this in the forge, bring it to heat. Now I'm going to bring it over to the swedge block. Now I formed
That's just like in the game, dude. There you go. Wow.
That will complete the construction of the pommel.
Thanks, Snoop. Thanks for the 5.
Well, this is a piece of Delrin that we're using for the first step in making the grip for Ashbringer.
Okay.
Pretty substantial. So I'll cut the grip to length on the bandsaw and then bring it over to the belt grinder and grind it to shape. The finishing touch on this is to cover the grip in red leather that matches the color for what we're calling the spine elements. A little detailing with some crisscross leather, and this grip will be done. Once I've created all the elements, the final stage is to put it all together. This is really good. I've built Ashbringer in a modular manner. I will lay the spine onto the blade.
So good.
Wow.
It all gets slid together like a shish kebab. The hilt all stacks together and the grip stacks on top of that. This is the final stage. If I made it solid, probably be 250 pounds. Let's see how much it actually weighs. Right at about 18 pounds. Woohoo! Over 200 hours putting this thing together. This is Ashbringer. Let's go slash something. Yeah!
Wow. I can't believe you actually made the class order hall version too. I guess the normal one would be really simple. They got some guy in cosplay to do it? Oh my god. Who's this guy? Oh, chum! That's good, dude. He got gnome. It's Godzilla. Wow. But it didn't even cut him, it just pushed him back. That's a little bit much, don't you think? I feel like I'm watching Apocalyptico. What the fuck? The guy just went crazy. But that was pretty damn cool. Like, yeah, wow. Wouldn't you want that, McConnell?
What are we talking about?
The Ashbringer. What do you mean?
No, I don't care.
You don't want... You wouldn't want an Ashbringer.
No, it's the wrong one.
True. That's true. It was the wrong one. Yeah.
It was the wrong one.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like, why would they have them? I bet they just... When did they do this? 2016. Oh, it's just to advertise BFA. Or not BFA, Legion.
Legion.
Who gives a fuck? I don't know, like...
Oh my god.
What?
I'm not unhappy. I'm not unhappy that they made it. It's cool.
Dude, these
it
are
was
the
cool.
same people that if I'm not screaming, they think I'm high.
I'm just saying, I'm not unhappy they made it. I just wish it was the original version, not the Legion version. That's all I'm saying. How is that baby rage? The fuck?
It's a little bit small too. Like I expect it to be like twice as big. I guess that is pretty cool though. Like I do like the Ashbringer, obviously. It's just, yeah, I do wish they had done the actual version. I don't know how the fuck they made a Warglaive though. Like how the fuck do you actually go and make a Warglaive? It seems like you just get yourself cut or hurt or something. How the hell do you do that? They couldn't have picked it up. It was bigger. If it was like 30 or 40 pounds, I'm pretty sure somebody could pick it up. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know about that.
My name is Tony Swanton. I'm a blacksmith. I make suits of armor and swords. My business is making weapons for movies, video games, television shows, commercials, all of that. So it's very exciting to have Blizzard Entertainment approach me to recreate Warglaives of Azzinoth. So in the lore of World of Warcraft, Illidan Stormrage wields the Warglaives of Azzinoth. Illidan was originally a night elf, but after consuming the skull of Gul'dan, he transformed into a powerful demon.
I wonder if he actually knows this, or they're just telling him what to say.
To create this weapon, there's going to be over 50 separate parts. These blades are going to be about 1.5 inches thick. I'm not going to make this solid. This thing would weigh 300 pounds, so we're going to make this hollow, but we're going to have a core of hardened steel for the cutting edge. The center shield here will have a handle going across the back, and I'm going to be cutting 4 emerald cabochons that get set in here. This is going to be a fun challenge. I just can't wait to start.
All right. We're gonna cut out the skins of our blades. One of the beneficial aspects of a Beverly shear is you're actually able to follow curved lines. All right, and there we have our cutout of our skin.
I'm gonna bring it over to the Pullmax machine and just put a little bit of form in here.
This is actually crazy.
I'm gonna hand it back to Douglas, and he's gonna come back in with
I wonder
chisels.
if they're gonna. I guess they're probably only gonna make one, right?
Pretty close.
That'd be cool as fuck if they had 2, dude. You just like fucking swing them around.
Here. This is razor sharp. If I slip on this, this is gonna cut it to the bone, through arteries, skin, tendons, everything else. This rusty piece of metal that looks like nothing is the integral spine of these Warglaives. My design element of this is finished.
Commissioned? Yeah, dude.
This.
What? That guy looks like a scuffed superhero.
Another way to think of a plasma cutter is to imagine a lightsaber. It's going to slice through anything.
The chromoly steel that Brian has cut out with plasma cutter, and that will get clamped on here.
I wonder if people can make real
Chris
lightsabers.
Will TIG weld everything together.
This is the way. This is how I would imagine a blacksmith's like shop to be.
Looking pretty awesome.
It's a bunch of beefy boys with beards.
Center shield on the 16
Besides that guy,
so now we're going to cut that out.
This makes sense.
Now I dome it out on the Pullmax machine, so it's got a little bit more shape here. I've done an oversized shield for the center here. I'll trim down the edges. The Warglaive blades are much too large to heat treat in-house. But as an example, this will go into the forge. I'll pull it out, quench it in the oil, just to show you how this looks. It's pretty cool.
I wish they could just make it to where it's always on fire.
So I'm gonna
That'd
take
be
the belt
better.
grinder, grind off the excess weld. I'm going to soften this metal. Right now, I can barely bend it. It's really springy. I'm going to heat it up to a red heat and quench it. I'm going to cool this rapidly in this vat of acid below me. When I pull it out of the acid, it'll be clean and very soft.
Is that acid on his hands? I don't know if
on
you're
the
supposed
center
to do
portion of
that.
our shield, we have 25 separate elements. Like this element corresponds to the bottom piece. That'll go into the hydraulic
Whatever
press.
works,
and
dude.
that 100,000 pounds of pressure will squash this into the brass, and this brass will now look identical to this. So we've got the freshly pressed brass. I'm going to have Alicia trim it up and match it like a jigsaw puzzle over the center of the shield.
Doesn't have to be very clean. I'm going to take it to Tony on the grinder afterwards, and he's going to make sure that it looks really good.
See, it's hollow, very lightweight brass, but it's going to look like solid, thick brass, hence keeping the weight down.
Here I have 3 different length ruler saws I'm going to be using for our shield. I'm just going to follow the lines that I have on this pattern.
Like,
all right.
At all.
1 down, 20 more to go.
I now need to dome it to match the contour of the shield here. And the rest with a rawhide mallet. You don't want to mash it with a steel-faced hammer.
Yeah. Wow, that looks really fucking good. Holy
shit. Pretty good.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm making a bezel for this. This will give me a nice uniform ring.
Damn.
And we're going to dome the top edge of it so that it holds the stone so the stone doesn't slip out.
Next time you see this, it'll have a green gemstone in it. This is the first time all these pieces have been assembled together perfectly like a jigsaw puzzle, and I'm pretty happy with the results. I've just used this diamond saw here to slice out a block of green glass. That'll be the center stone. The next step is I'm going over to the grinder here. I'm cutting these stones in a cabochon form, which means that they're just a dome. There are no facets. A little demonic jewel happening there. Stick a fork in me because I'll be done. Next step I'll do is fit up the wooden handles for this. This is 1/2 inch by about 2 inch wide slabs of red oak. And I'll take one side of this and wrap it with stingray skin. And this is real stingray. It's super strong. This is one of the strongest leathers out there. Decorative, functional, demonic.
Super effective against
these screws will hold the whole warglaive together. This is the last big step before we start going out and smashing stuff with this. I'm going to set 10 pop rivets that will hold the blades to the shield. Let's see where we're at. Right about 20 pounds. This thing's going to kick some demon butt. This beauty's finished. Let's go.
You can't say ass. You get in trouble. This is for kids.
No, take candles.
Wait, is he just wearing plaid shorts? Wait, how are you gonna dress up like that if you're wearing plaid?
Look how he's using it. Oh, God, come on, man.
There it is, dude. I don't think they... You're not supposed to hold it. I guess it'd be kind of hard to use it in the actual way, right? Do we need that? Wait, who was the producer like, okay, all right, have him fucking yell at the end. Be like, roar! And like, that'll be perfect. And then we'll end the video. And they're like, yeah, dude, that's it. That's what we do, man, right there. Like, Gorehound? Yeah, I can do the Gorehound one. This actually is really cool, though. Like, I didn't know they spent this much time on it. What is this? Gorehound, there it is. 3 years ago. Oh, this must have been for WoD. So they hired these guys to make these things for, well, this is 2015. Well, I guess this was during WoD, yeah. Okay, that's actually really cool. It'd be really hard not to cut yourself if you use it normally. Look, man. You just have to do it right once. They can just cut out the times that they cut themselves. Like, oh, you cut yourself. All right, cut and do it again, right? And just keep doing that until they get it right. I mean, you just need a few frames and it'll be fine. And if they don't want to do it, just get some random guy off the street. Be like, listen, man, like, this is really dangerous, but just swing it around. And if you don't cut yourself, we're going to give you $150. Boom. Solved. WoD is better than BFA. Yo, relax, bro. Like, stop. To the Michael Jewel? I don't know who that is. Thanks for the 10. I appreciate that.
My name is Tony Swanton. I'm a blacksmith. I make suits of armor and swords. My business is making weapons.
Seems
for
like Gorehowl would be
video
really
games,
fucking heavy.
television shows, commercials. Blizzard Entertainment approached me to make an axe called Gorehowl.
So this is the Gorehowl. These are some really cool 3D renderings that show it in detail. This weapon is steeped in lore from Warcraft 3, and this is the guy who wields it. This is this crazy orc from Hellstream.
We will never be slaves!
He actually uses this blade and plunges it right into the head of Manaroth. Which basically kills this demon. And,
honestly, I think this could have been the best cinematic.
Very cool.
This weapon actually got its name because of the sound it makes when it swings through the air.
Yeah,
you know, it's orc through and through. Yeah. Imagine orcs have these big, massive hands, right? And
that was so good.
Looking at this, I'm not going to make it solid. The scale of what we're talking about for your build here would make it 100 pounds just for this portion.
Okay.
This is going to be a really fun build.
Fantastic, man.
Great.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
That's heavy as fuck.
This is a rendering that I'm going to use as the basis for making this.
The man hits.
We transferred the pattern of the sides of the blade onto a piece of 1/8-inch hot-rolled steel plate. And then I will have Brian take the plasma cutter and cut out the shape of the steel. Plasma cutter will strike an arc onto the metal, and high pressure
I wonder what would happen
stream
if
of
you
air
put
will
that
come
on your
through,
hand.
vaporizing the metal.
You probably wouldn't have a hand.
And then I take it over to the belt grinder.
Yeah, bad
and
time.
use the 36 grit belt and grind
I
off
wouldn't
all
do that.
of the slag. Grind it directly to the profile line. This is the outside cutting edge. To make the cutting edge of the blade, I'm actually taking 3/16 1075 hard carbon steel.
I like axes better than swords. They're more
Take
dangerous.
it out at a red heat, probably about 15 to 1800 degrees.
Mostly for the
bring
user.
it over to the pneumatic forging hammer and start bending it in half. Just fold it in two, flatten it completely down.
Oh, like a samurai
And
sword.
I made a specific tool that fits in my fly press that I'll wedge it open so it looks like it's an inch thick steel when it's only 3/16. The cutting edge has been the main challenge.
Baited.
I spent about 6 hours forming a cutting edge, and when I went to split it open, it literally split open. And you'll hear that little tink, which means that you develop a crack and that everything's just junk on the floor. This is,
so he's pissed.
It ripped and folded in. It thinned down too much, and
They had to bleep it out, dude.
it ripped. So
Oh,
this
come
is
on.
what we
What'd they
refer
bleep?
to
What'd
in
they
the
bleep?
business
He
as
said this is
catastrophic
fucked.
failure. So I'm just going to
I
make
mean,
another
obviously
one
he said this is
that
fucked.
meets my quality standards. So I'm going to sacrifice this paper pattern to make my oak handle here. This is a chunk about 2 inches thick of red oak. Took the original photocopy and glued it directly onto the workpiece. The overall length of the axe
this is
is
Blizzard
just under
standard.
4 feet. So take it to the bandsaw, cut it out.
All Blizzard standard.
And then shaped it on the coarse belt on the belt grinder.
Wow. Brom
My
beat
wife,
Cenarius'
Karen, is a great
ass.
sculptor. Karen will be
with,
working on the
with this axe, I'm
decorative
pretty sure.
cast bronze skull on
Think
the
about that in
top
Demigod.
and also the butt cap or the skull crusher on the bottom. And she can sculpt the pieces in Chabant oil-based clay and mold them in RTV silicone and then plaster jacketed mold. We don't want to have a solid casting because the piece would weigh 60, 70 pounds from the block. So we pour the wax in there, allow it to cool around the edges, and then we transfer that wax into
Been
a
used
can.
for
Then we put the can
5,700
inside of a
years.
burnout oven and melt the
That's
wax
almost
out
as
of there,
old as the
leaving
Earth.
cavity. We bring it out of the burnout oven at about 900 degrees, melt the bronze up to about 1,800 degrees in a melting furnace, and pour the molten bronze into the flask, and then quench it in water.
Because it's almost 6,000. That's why I said that.
Revealing the solid bronze casting. And miraculously, you have a skull and a big mace butt cap kind of shows up.
Wow.
Back of the axe is cut out of 3/16 hot-rolled steel. And then the top of the axe is just out of 1/8-inch hot-rolled steel. then it gets welded all the way around. The spikes that I'll forge out onto the power hammer from chromoly after heating them in the forge and then drawing it to a taper, making
that shit would scare the fuck out of me being next to that.
Hammering it over the horn.
Just like to know if you put your hand in there,
after
just crush your hand.
Spikes, I'll chop them to length with the abrasive chop saw.
Their hearts were sealed onto the blade.
And
oh, that's right.
Be plug welded to the back.
I forgot about that.
So I made the cutting edge.
So that like magical properties.
Tempered it. All right, cool. And welded it. Now razor sharpened it.
Okay.
So I'm happy with this. This can go out. I still need to attach the skull from the inside.
Gorhal was forged 3 generations before he
base
inherited
leather
it.
over the top, and then in turn cover that with strips of crisscross leather.
I didn't fucking know that.
And then at the bottom of the
I should look up more war
handle
stuff.
is a copper
That'd be a good
and
idea to do like one day.
Cap or
do like a
butt
lore
spike.
stream.
We're on the final stretch here. Couple all-nighters, totally worth the effort. So when they come out from Blizzard, I want to see their reaction.
How you doing,
Are you ready?
Good, good. Oh, God, yes.
All right, well, under our orcish fur kind of presentation.
Awesome. I'm ready.
Wait for it.
Let's see it.
Check.
Here we go.
This out.
Wow. Oh, my God. Holy cow. Look at the detail in this thing.
That's good, dude. That is good. Too small? No, the Gorhal wasn't really that big.
This thing in action. Let's go break some stuff.
Happy Thanksgiving. Oh, wow. Oh, it's a target dummy, of course. It doesn't really feel like as dangerous because it's a piñata, you know? With confetti in it. They just had to have the yell, dude. They had. It was
alright.
Yeah, it was alright. Okay, this is the Doom Hammer. I think this is the last one they made.
My name is Tony Swanton. I'm a blacksmith. I make suits of armor and swords. My business is making weapons for movies, video games, television shows, commercials, all of that. Blizzard Entertainment has asked me to create an iconic weapon from the World of Warcraft lore. I'm really
I always
excited
thought Doom
about
Hammer
this
was
one.
dumb.
Doom Hammer.
Yeah, I thought Doom Hammer was dumb.
According to Warcraft
I never
legend,
liked it.
the head of the Doom Hammer was crafted by an orc named Gelnor from a pool of lava on Draenor.
Wait, really?
When Gelnor crafted an oak handle, Doom Hammer was complete. Both the weapon and the name were passed down from father to son for generations.
Oh, really?
This version of Doom Hammer is a little different from most of the ones that you've seen in the game.
I didn't even know that.
It has lava channels growing through it. I'm trying to figure out how we're going to give the effect of lava because we're all out of lava. If I'd made this solid, it would probably weigh 250 pounds. Nobody would be able to pick it up. Much as vellum is used in World of Warcraft to make scrolls, I use vellum to sieve layers that I'm going to be using to construct the Doom Hammer hammerhead. I'm going to start with a rectangular tube. For the end caps, we'll put plates of aluminum. Supporting the wolf head will be bulletproof glass, and then there's 4 bands as opposed to 2 that are in the original design to make it stronger. It's a very intricate piece, and it's going to take a lot of work.
I would assume Doom Hammer would be easy to make because it's just a hammer.
Create a paper pattern. Next, I'm going to work on tracing the sides of the hammer face onto 11-gauge steel and cutting that out on the bandsaw. After the panels are cut out, I'll bring them over to the power hammer.
How many hammers have you made?
A bunch of lava-type distress look on the hammer face. I'm going to weld the seams together on these two edges to make a rectangular hammerhead.
Yeah, I haven't made hammers. How about you?
I haven't made any either. That's why I'm not judging this guy and assuming things, idiot.
And then
why do you assume everything?
Using the plasma cutter.
In this forge, you have to assume that everything is hot, sharp, and poisonous. Not only is it going to kill you, it's going to hurt the whole time you're dying.
Oh, shit.
Watch your butts.
The plasma cutter can achieve temperatures of 45,000 degrees Fahrenheit. It vaporizes that metal underneath it and cuts a channel. After Brian has plasma cut the channels, we will take the scale and flash off using a die grinder.
What the fuck?
For the end caps
does he
of
have
the
antlers?
Doom Hammer, Brian will cut out 5/8 aluminum on the bandsaw.
That's an antler on his head.
And then he'll bring it over to the vertical mill and mill out the fire channels. We send the aluminum out to get anodized, and they'll do a gold anodizing finish with red highlights. There's so many layers to it, and I have to make it glow.
Okay.
When I saw the artwork that Blizzard Entertainment supplied, it showed only 2 bands. The place you're going to hit with a hammer are these corners. So I'm going to reinforce these corners, adding 4 bands as opposed to 2.
They spend a lot of time figuring this shit out.
So I can forge it underneath the power hammer. And I'm going to take it to the anvil.
Like compared to like the balsa wood frostmourne, or not? Why I keep confusing these? The Thunder Fury. This is different.
We've drawn the Frost Wolf on a sheet of steel. So I'm going to use a tool called a jeweler's saw.
What?
I'll carve in the details of the mane and the teeth on the Fordham disc grinder.
Ooh.
That completes all the elements for the hammerhead. To begin the construction of the pommel, I'm going to take a 3-inch diameter round bar, put it into the forge, and bring it up to a temperature of about 1600 to 1800 degrees, and smash it till it looks like the pommel that I want.
Okay. I wonder if it's like hot just to be next to it.
The pommel for Doom Hammer has 5 steel spikes coming off it. I'm going to forge those out of 1 1/4 chromoly 4130 steel.
I bet it would be.
It is hardenable and extremely tough. And then we'll heat them up to the critical temperature, which is about 1575 degrees, and quenching them in oil to harden them. They'll actually be more effective for smashing and penetrating skulls and bones and, you know, whatever gets in the way.
Is Doom Hammer to kill Blackhand? Oh yeah!
Once I'm done forging the spikes, I bring them over to the chop saw.
Not like what happened in WoW, where Orgrim Doomhammer got pushed around like a bitch. Pathetic.
I've got an abrasive chop saw with a 14-inch blade, about 1/8 of an inch wide.
Serious,
that
it's sad.
will cut through the steel like butter. After I forge the spikes, I'll screw them into the ball. This is gonna do some damage, and that will complete the construction of the pommel. For the handle, the Doom Hammer will be made out of a solid chunk of oak that I'll drill a hole through the end and put a piece of 5/8 all thread through the middle of it.
Yeah, this is the artifact weapon version.
Immediately. The ends never meet exactly in the middle, so I'm going to heat up a poker in the forge and push that through the middle. After I've drilled and burned the hole, I take it over to the belt grinder and give it a rough-hewn appearance. I'm trying to achieve the look of this handle being created with a knife or an axe, but I'm doing this with an abrasive belt. There's a design element in the Doom Hammer handle that shows these little patchy pieces of metal. I had a tool that will impart dragon scales on it, and then forming the metal to wrap around the side of the handle, burning it into place.
Okay.
I'll bring it to the layout table and stain it to give it the appearance of an aged, old oak handle. That will complete the construction of Doom Hammer's handle. The final assembly on this is very complex due to multiple layers.
How the fuck do you make
4
this?
bands. I'm putting the final band onto the side just to make it that much stronger. I need to rivet things together. I need to bolt
That's like
stuff
made
together.
out of fucking
it's a
solid
giant
metal.
3D jigsaw puzzle.
God damn.
And we're using Lexan, which is a bulletproof material. It's bolted and riveted throughout the interior. This way, we can have the Frost Wolf floating in space in the fire. The final element to assembling Doom Hammer is screw the pommel to the grip and then bolt the top of the hammerhead together.
Oh, Yo, that's actually really big.
What I've determined is we're going to use glowing lava-colored lights from the inside of the hammerhead to make lava channels glow.
Yeah.
This will create massive DPS. If I'd made Doomhammer solid, probably be close to 300 pounds. We'll weigh it up.
It's got to be like 30 pounds, dude.
Right at 50 pounds. Almost 300 hours working on this, but it's finally complete.
That's a big boy.
Let's go crush something with Doomhammer.
Holy shit. $50-pound hammer? What the fuck, dude?
Hello, friend. Hate gnomes!
The gnomes. Wow. How could they make the orc grunting sounds? Shit.
Yes!
That was good, man. Yeah, I thought that was pretty good. It was a little bit, yeah, he did miss, you're right, but I don't know, like that's pretty badass. Like, let me see. Let me get a good look of like what actually looked like. There it is.
Hello, friend.
That's good, dude. Actually does look really nice. Like, how do they make the red stuff in the middle, though? Like, that's what's really interesting about it. Like, do you like this one better, McConnell? With the Doomhammer?
This was way better than anything else they made, by far.
What, you think so?
Yeah, this is the best one they made.
Why do you like it so much more?
Well, number one, it's fucking Doomhammer, right? Like, it's fucking Doomhammer.
Yep,
Number
that is
two,
true.
They made it the right way. Like, it's fucking heavy.
Yes,
and
50-pound hammer.
It could kill somebody, okay? That's how you make a fucking... That's how you do it right there. That's the way to do it.
I don't know. I think the Frostmourne sword was pretty cool, too. I mean, it's really hard to beat Frostmourne.
It's alright. It's alright.
Like, that's just my opinion. Like, I don't know. I think both of them do look really fucking badass. But Doomhammer, like, I like Doomhammer because it's 50 pounds, right? Like, that's how heavy, like, a Warhammer should be. At least in my mind it is. They also made a Dark Soul weapon. Yeah, I need to take a piss, guys. I'll be right back. You can't use magic? Well, yeah, I mean, like, guess what? You can't use magic in real life. It's not Harry Potter.
Okay, since we got a whole bunch more people here, go ahead, Twitch Prime, right now. You already know. Just do it right now. Go ahead. If you haven't used it this month, press the button now. If, you know, if you love Asmon watching videos, then you definitely want to sub right now, because he's going to be watching videos for the next, like, 2 weeks. Okay? So keep subbing. Keep subbing with Twitch Prime. That's good. I see a lot of them coming in right now. Invader Jim with the 5 gifted subs. Thank you very much. I'm sure Asmon would definitely appreciate that. Thank you. Yep. Good shit. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. And by the way, to all the people, you know, criticizing me, you can suck my dick and balls, okay? I'm gonna give my opinion whether you like it or not. You can just suck me off, okay? Look at him, he's crawling. Look at him going. Look at him, little goblin, dude.
I was trying to see what you're saying. I was trying to sneak up on you. Know what the hell you're doing?
Nope.
Know what the hell you were telling them while I was AFK taking a piss. Flaswell, thank you very much for the 5 gifted subs. I appreciate that very much, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I was trying to see if
check your subs.
Okay. Raven donated $2 and he said ever bald. J-Train donated. Oh, wow. Thank you very much for the 5 gifted subs, man. Thank you, dude. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much, Everbald. Okay, Invader Zim with the 5 gifted community subs, too. And holy fuck, that's a lot of Twitch Primes. Did you tell them to Twitch Prime, or did they just do it?
They just did that. What
the fuck, really?
Yeah, that wasn't me at all.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, thank you, guys. I really appreciate that. Thank you. That's insane. I had no idea. Wow. Thank you very much. Okay, just a second. Let me look at the rest of these. Wait.